Welcome back to Halftime SmackDown. Matty T. Phil should be back connected here probably within the next 10 or 15 minutes, but until then, we're going to welcome in the publisher of Hogs Illustrated via telephone today, the one and only Clay Henry, joining us here on Halftime. Clay, how are you this afternoon, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's been a good day. I'm officially vaccinated with the Moderna shot. I'm 66 and was eligible, so I got my shot.
Good
today.
for you.
So that's the one shot, not two shots, right?
No, it's. I'll have to have.
Oh, you had the
one,
first dose.
I think I'm scheduled for 4 weeks later, another shot in March. So, the way I understand it, I'm in pretty good shape already.
Good. That's good. That's good to hear. And I think
Yep.
I know, Maddie, your girlfriend had hers.
Yeah, because she works at Mercy, so
She's
she
had
did
both of hers.
She did both doses and didn't have any side effects, other than a sore arm for a day.
My mom had her COVID shot, got her second dose. I guess this would have been about 2 weeks ago. Had a real bad fever, got the chills, kind of like the typical side effects. But then 24, 36 hours later, she was feeling good as new. So it's good to hear that you got yours done.
I pushed it this fall. I went to all 10 football games. Not everybody could get credentials, and I could. And so I rolled and just kind of did a truck tour of the SEC, 5 road games, and stayed in little places along the way, or stayed with my brother in Tuscaloosa on the way to Auburn and Gainesville. And I've been trying. I was like, okay, I kind of pushed it a little bit. And I'm old, and I'm in relatively good health. Not perfect. I don't take any medicine. I'm not on any kind of medication. But it's like, all right, I've been kind of decided I don't want to take the last bullet in the war.
Right.
And I've been laying low, and now I feel like, well, maybe I can start going to some baseball games and doing some other things. And so that's an excitement.
It's going to be fun to really see how this thing. Before we get into basketball and touch on this dominating win last night, you mentioned road trips last night, or you just mentioned road trips like going around the SEC. Before we get into basketball, of all your years of traveling, which I know that like this year is different, what's your favorite like road trip to make to an SEC school?
Well, I guess I like them all. They're all different, and they all have. There's some that just we haven't been to very often. I would say, Athens was pretty cool. I think I've only been there twice. So I'd look forward to going to. I know Claude Felton, who's the communication director there, real well, and look forward to going to that press box again. But yeah, I kind of like them all, and they're just different, and they're cool. And I really was looking forward to going to South Bend and covering a game at Notre Dame. And of course, that got wiped away, and so I'm a little bit sad that didn't happen. I guess there's some places that I would like to go that I haven't. They're not all football. I'd like to see a game at Duke. I think that's an interesting place. I kind of like to see Hinkle Fieldhouse. Butler. That's an old storied place. I thought Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas was pretty cool back in the day. Covering a game there. It's the old, kind of antiques like Gallagher, Abba, and those kind of places fascinate me. And I love basketball. And there's a few places maybe in retirement that I would like to go see. I'd like to. I've seen a game at Wrigley. I'd like to go to Fenway, and I think I've got that set up if I just get time to go do it. A friend of mine is a season ticket holder, so I think I can pull that off. But yeah, you asked about SEC places, but I thought I'd just throw in some other things.
Absolutely. All right, Clay, we got Phil back connected in here. We've had some gremlins running through the studio the past 2 days.
Yeah,
Phil, are you back in here with us now?
Oh, I'm fine. It's not gremlins in the studio. It's crappy internet from a company that if it happens again, I might just have to put them on blast on a radio show. That's what it is.
Well, I don't know if y'all know it, but I finally have fiber optics at my house in Norfolk, and it's you're at Bomb Stadium, but I'll say it's the bomb, and I'd say bomb is B-O-M-B.
Listen to Clay brag about his internet, really. Guys. Finally, you're the one with the shiny toy now, Clay. Finally, so you can brag about your internet. It's about time.
Well, you complimented me when I'm listening to you guys on the radio. On the morning show, there's no delay anymore, and I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, I sound like I'm almost with Ty and Tommy. Unfortunately, I'm not.
Yeah. Hey,
unfortunately or fortunately.
Well, I'm fortunately connected now. Unfortunately, I can hear everybody, and I was really upset driving over to the ballpark. But if there's one thing that's going to calm me down, it's the scene that I get to see right now, which is a gorgeous, sunny morning where the field is getting lined and watered, and sometime in the next 20 minutes, the guys will come out for some batting practice. So I guess life is perfect again now that the gremlins are gone, and we can talk some more sports with Clay.
Were you feeding your internet after midnight?
I didn't think about that. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about that. I didn't get it wet, so
it won't multiply.
Clay, Columbia, South Carolina is one of my favorite road trips in the SEC. I don't want to drive there because it's really long to get there, but it's a cool town. They've got great fans, good facilities, and everything. South Carolina basketball right now is not very good, but I got to say, I don't really care who it was that Arkansas played yesterday. That was a heck of a lot of fun to watch. It's how we've seen them play really for the last month to 5 weeks, and right now I don't see another team in the SEC right now that's playing at that level. I'm not sure if there's another team in the country right now that's playing at their level. What do you think?
No. I was listening earlier, and y'all were like, well, a win over South Carolina doesn't help you, up the seed lines. Yeah, it does, because other teams are losing. And at this point in the year, when you win and then you look around, and you see, well, yeah, there's teams playing on the road, and they're losing now. I don't think Michigan's going to fall very far for losing at home to Illinois. But those are the kind of things that are happening in the Big Ten, and there's a lot of those 3-4 Big Ten teams that are losing because they're playing each other. And now I watched the game too, and when you go on the road, there's two things that are really important. And I know y'all focused in the first half hour here about, the shooting and the offense. But the two things that you need to pack up and take on that charter flight with you are defense and chemistry. And if you have those two things, you go on the road and good things happen. You're able to withstand, a bad moment. Now, I didn't really see a bad moment last night. I mean, maybe midway through the first half, South Carolina hit a couple of baskets, and then maybe early in the second half, they cut it to 14 one time. But it was so quick that they bounced out of those little bad moments. The chemistry thing is real, and I know it's hard to quantify that. But what I saw, Jalen Tate on the sideline, waving a towel, jumping up and down in the second half as Desi Sills and other guys were nailing shots. And he didn't go back in the game because the other guards were playing so good, and he didn't care. And, that's a guy that transferred to Arkansas to try to help his NBA stock. But he's busy thinking about a championship, which is really cool to watch.
It is, and you make a great point about defensively. And right now, every player on the court has things that they are doing defensively that are helping this team out. It isn't just like, we got to put this guy out there. And everybody plays defense now. Everybody.
Yeah,
I think that's a team. Team concept all the way. Clay, stick around. We'll have the second segment with you in just a moment. We're coming up against the break. If you got any questions for Clay, we're moving over to baseball for the second segment here. 877-377-6963. All right, Gremlins be gone. Halftime's back. Questions for Clay from listeners, one on the text machine, the other on the telephony machine. Adam from Wynn wants to know Clay's favorite guy on the baseball team. That might be a tough question to ask. We'll see if he can answer it. And best fishing lure to catch the Big Daddy. I guess that would be a really big fish. So we'll get that in a moment. Let's go to the phones for Jordan's question for Clay. Jordan, you're on halftime. Got something for Clay Henry.
Hey, I was just going to say, what did y'all think about that Saturday night's baseball home runs and how many Arkansas hit that day?
Okay, you got it. We'll go right to it. Clay, let's get to the home run stuff first. And I wasn't worried about only one home run in the first 3 games at Texas. I don't know if this is a team that's going to hit like 8 or 9 home runs or 10 home runs over a 4-game set, but I think what we saw as far as power is concerned is a little more of what we saw against SEMO than the first 3 games against those Texas teams.
Yeah, first of all, when you play down in Globe Life Stadium, that is a cavernous place, and you do not have the benefit of getting a breeze blowing out, right, Bill?
None whatsoever. I tried to blow the ball out a little bit. It didn't help from the booth.
Yeah, I mean, when they got the roof closed, it's what is they say? It's 2 miles an hour from all directions with the heating and air ducts blowing all the same. Baum Walker Stadium has gotten smaller and smaller through the years, and you think, well, how is that possible? Well, this was about 14 years ago. I can remember talking to Todd Butler, who's the hitting coach and recruiting coordinator. And he's like, I've been trying to convince Dave we need to and he says DVH. He said, we need to move in the right field fence. He said, I'm trying to, sign left-hand power hitters, and the word on the street in recruiting is that the wind blows in from right, and it's hard to hit it out. So they moved it in. They moved the fence in, and it was kind of quietly done. And then they've moved it in again with the new building out in right field. There hadn't been much talk about that, but they moved it in this last year again.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now, and I think they must have moved it in the left field corner too, Clay, because both down both lines, right under those big yellow poles, it says 320, and it used to say more than 320.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about it too much because they don't want people to use that against them in recruiting for pitchers. It's crazy, right?
Yeah. You got enough good things for pitchers here to bring them here no matter what, though. Yeah. But you're right about that.
Yeah, they're going to hit home runs, and there's going to be a lot of games where the ball goes out, and the other teams can hit home runs too. You can score some runs in Baum Stadium. It's still not tiny. And now the one thing that I'm really interested to watch, and it was talked about a little bit in the fall, with that new building out there, does it protect the wind? And anything that's hit on the line is going to jump to right field, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, low line drives to right field definitely won't be affected at all by the wind. Anything that's way up in the air, that it gets above the building, I think will still have some effect on it. But I think there also might be a little bit of a swirl effect. We only saw 4 games here. But you could see the wind, the pole, the flagpole down in the hog pen was blowing in towards first base, but there were some pop-ups down the right field line that were blown back into fair territory. And I don't know if that was because of the sort of wind patterns just around the area, or if that might be a bit of a deflection of wind coming in from left field.
Well,
so I think it might go 2 ways.
Are changing. Yeah, the dynamics are changing. As far as the wind there. And so we just have to kind of see. But they got some guys now that can hit it. And I know everybody's all, okay, Casey Martin's gone, Heston Kerstead is gone, but they still, Brady Slavens, his bat speed, that ball jumps. And he will be the guy that hits it up on top of that building out there in right field before it's all over.
I think there might be more power in this lineup than there was sprinkled throughout last year fully. I think it was really more concentrated into Goodhart would have shown more pop last year, I'm pretty sure, and Kerstad and Casey Martin. But I feel like there might be more power sprinkled throughout the lineup, and I think you're going to see a little more pop from Casey Opitz, too. His doubles are up.
And I think Robert Moore has got more pop. He's just a bigger guy. So you got the natural maturation of some of these guys that we maybe didn't see home runs hit their first, but it just in Goodhart, he's gone. He popped one right up there on that scoreboard the other day, didn't he?
He did, and that's a guy that actually could demolish any staff in the SEC when he gets going. And they won their first 4 games without him. It's not that it's a different lineup with him in it. It's just a better lineup with him in there. He is that good of a college hitter.
You really like him hitting behind Franklin. He's a guy that, okay, we got to pitch to this guy in the 2-hole because Goodhart's right behind him.
Well,
and that's a big deal.
And Franklin's power, Clay, is legit to all fields. He had 3 home runs in that series, all to different directions. A liner to left, one that might still be going to right center, and one that landed just to the right of the video board. And he gets a lot of backspin on the ball because of his ability to stay inside of it, and he's always been like that. Even when he first came here, the one knock on Christian as a hitter was that he didn't pull the ball with real authority. He does now. That's what he's looking to do early in the count. With 2 strikes, he still has that instinct of plate coverage, and he's strong and gets backspin on it. Then on 2 strikes, he's going to go over the fence a few times this year.
I think you're right, and it's I will not minimize the ability of Nate Thompson to teach the swing that gets the backspin. And that backspin is a huge deal for home runs. And if you look, the home run guys he had at Missouri State, there was about 3 years of them. And then, Arkansas lost some home run power the first year he was here, and everybody's like, well, okay, the numbers are going to go down. And, Nate kind of real quietly is like, well, I think that we can still hit home runs. they hit more home runs this first year than a team that you thought had more power the previous year.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask about pitching because, you and I were talking about this a little earlier. There is no one closer on this team. There's a group of pitchers that they look to close innings, and there's a group of pitchers they look to open innings and then see how long they can get them to go. And that's what you're seeing them do really throughout these first 7 games. There are specific guys they want to inherit runners. There are specific relievers they want to start innings. And right now there is no designated closer. I think there's like 4 or 5 guys that they might allow those opportunities.
Yeah, and this is still evolving, and I think there are probably some people that saw Casey Kopps right after he came back from Tommy John surgery that I'm not sure I trust him. Well, he's about to get about 35 appearances in this year, don't you think, Phil? I mean, they're going to use him and use him and use him.
I do.
And he might be a closer before it's all over.
Mm-hmm. I think Trest is one of those guys that they're looking to in a situation like that. Kopps, no doubt. They still are figuring out, how to use Jackson Wiggins. So, pitching is still the strength. And I guess one question would be, because of how well Connor Nolan and Patrick Wicklander looked this last week, giving starters innings in relief and inheriting relievers, runners at the same time. Do you think they might get another look in the starting rotation sometime soon?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think anybody ever gave up on those guys. I think there were some fans who are like, okay, they've just got passed by. No, they got challenged, and they competed, and they've they were chomping at the bit. And sometimes you need a little challenge, a little competition. It's like, what they say, competition makes the whole world go round. These guys answered the challenge, and Connor Nolan looked better to me than he did in the fall by a lot. Patrick Wicklander looked better to me than he did in the fall. And, it's, for some, the fall is hard to kind of, sink your teeth in for everybody. And I've heard it forever and ever, guys that are veterans that, maybe fall's not their deal. But they've gotten with it now, and they may be tough to David Horn knows what these guys can do in an SEC game. As we get closer to SEC games, you might see them on the weekend as a starter.
I think so, too. All right, Clay, last thing here, and I think we'll be quick about it. I want to make sure we ask Adam's question about the best fishing lure to catch the Big Daddy. You got 10 seconds on that.
Yeah, you have to you got to match the hatch. It's whatever they're eating that day, and it can be different every day. And I know, this is the time of year that we have, some shad kill, shad coming through the generators. So maybe a white pattern right now will catch a big one.
Okay. Thanks, Clay. Really appreciate you, man. Always fun talking with you. You got it. Clay Henry will be with us next Wednesday as well. Listen for him later on the week in the Morning Rush. And make sure you are subscribing to Hogs Illustrated. Make sure you're tuning in about 4 minutes because the Meat Hooks are going to announce the downslope towards the weekend, and halftime is back after this.